profession. Iona's expert academic advisors and top graduate programs will enable you to move your career and the world in a positive direction. Learn more about upcoming graduate information sessions at iona.edu/graduate or call 800-231-IONA. That's 800-231-IONA.
Hey everyone, this is Masscom Senior and WICR Vice President Spring Gonzalez. There's a lot happening in Masscom. Check out NorthAvenueNation.com for the latest student blogs, videos, WICR shows, and pictures from around campus. For the latest internship opportunities, go to Twitter and search IC Masscom. And don't forget to like Iona's Masscom Facebook page. Search Gales Communication for more. There's a lot happening in our Masscom world, so what are you waiting for? Come and get involved. How awesome is it that it's no longer Pete Cazadore? Brian is so happy right now behind me that it's not Pete Cazadore and it's actually now my monotone voice. I just love that now I'm in a commercial where Demergis decided to play Brown Sugar. So thank you, Demergis, for playing Brown Sugar for me. But it is 9:26 in the morning and you are listening to Everybody Loves Spring with Spring and Brian in the morning. And what goes on in our show with what?
Twice the news and half the feelings.
Yay! So good morning, everybody. So we're going to play a fun game because Spring likes random news, as I said before. And I like to see if Brian can figure out which news is real, which news is fake.
Right, I'll look away from your laptop.
Actually, no, Brian, it's okay. Only because I didn't actually put which true or false, so I may actually forget. I doubt it. No, I know which ones are real. Let me stop playing myself.
I look like an idiot going to my room. It's like, oh, did you hear this story? Yeah, it's fake.
It's fake, didn't you know? All right, so here's the first headline. Everyone's favorite whiskey, Fireball, is being pulled from the shelves for having antifreeze in it. True or false?
True.
Ooh, I bet you read it. Did you read it?
I heard yesterday.
So Brian knows. That is true. Everyone's favorite whiskey, Fireball, most seen at most sports bras. I just said sports bras. Ladies and gentlemen, I officially go to the gym way too much. Sports bars and frat houses has been pulled from the shelves in 3 European countries for having the chemical that is also found in antifreeze. The chemical is called, let me get it once I pronounce it, propylene glycol. That's what it's called. So, in Norway, Finland, and Sweden, it was pulled for containing this chemical, but in North America, we actually use it to enhance our flavor and absorb excess water in our food products, so it's not something that we haven't consumed before. So, Sazerac, I want to say is how you pronounce the name. He's the owner of Fireball, and it's based out of New Orleans. He claims that it only uses 1/8 of the propylene glycol that's approved for human consumption by the FDA. So, what do you think about that, Brian? I don't know, do you like Fireball? Technically, I'm not supposed to like Fireball because I'm 20.
Well, as 21,
and WICR does not promote underage drinking.
As a 21-year-old man who is
legal and can drink,
does not, advise anyone to drink underage. I've had it a few times. It's all right. It feels almost like syrup.
I've heard it tastes like Big Red put into a bottle.
Yep, that's exactly it.
Exactly it.
Yeah.
Well, considering that Fireball does have the same chemicals as antifreeze, I actually found 9 foods that have antifreeze in it before all of you go crazy and say, why are they taking away our Fireball? But it's not in America. Just remember that. It's only in Europe. In Norway, Finland, and Sweden. And I didn't have to look at my notes to remember that.
Ooh.
So the first one is ice cream. Everyone's favorite. Who doesn't love ice cream? Especially if you've seen Eddie Murphy's Ice Cream! Next, artificial sweetener. So I'm guessing like Splenda, Equal, and I know I'm missing another one. After that, soft drink. So for those of you who love soda, it's in there. Next is frosting on all your favorite donuts and cakes.
What?
Next is medications. There's so many weird things. Medications, I love medication.
You have to be more specific, I feel.
Medication is by far, it's supposed to help you, but whenever you see it in these commercials, they give you like 10,000 side effects that always include death for whatever reason. So it's just like, I'm just trying to like cure a wart. Like, what is happening right now? But next, dog and cat food, which I suppose we don't necessarily have to worry about, but if you are like, I would hope you're an animal lover, your dogs and cats are eating it. Next is deodorant, which everyone, I will hope, wears every day.
Yeah.
I will hope We are in college now. If we're not rocking deodorant, you need to get with it.
That's like
Thank you.
Cornerstone
Next is
hygiene.
skincare products. So any creams you ladies or gentlemen put on your face, guess what? Antifreeze is in it. They're going to go around saying,
So
antifreeze is in our stuff.
So that's how you get that cool sensation.
And next, to clean your little baby's butt, it's in baby wipes.
What?
Yeah, propylene glycol is in baby
How
wipes.
do they get it on
So
baby?
literally, if you guys are feeling worried about your whiskey, don't worry about it. It's still safe. All right,
Oh,
next.
thank God.
Brian, look away. Next, man dresses up like a zombie to scare driver, shockingly gets run down by like a real zombie. Man in Chicago decided to play a prank downtown when a real zombie came up from the train grates and bit him in the neck, similar to like the zombie we saw in Miami. Man in critical condition at Chicago hospital. No reports of where the zombie currently is.
I'm gonna say false.
It is false.
If you didn't put a real zombie came out and bit him, I may have actually believed you. But you didn't, so...
Do you realize that I put Chicago hospital because it's in Chicago? Like, I don't even think that's a real hospital. I literally was just like, I'm going to put Chicago hospital. All right, that is a false story. There is no zombie right now going on in Chicago, but there was a real zombie in Miami because, you know, with the whole bath salt situation.
Yeah.
Next. Okay, so this is a real one, and he actually just happened to see it. A woman was decapitated shortly before a man leaps in front of a train in Long Island. A woman in Long Island was beheaded just minutes before a man jumped in front of a train. New York Daily News reports that the woman's body was found outside of an apartment in Long Island's Farmingdale section Tuesday night. A witness reported that the body's feet were at the curb and the shoulders were at the middle of the street, and the head was across the street. One person actually thought it was a Halloween prank, considering that's not so far-fetched, considering what week it is.
Yeah.
And then not long after, police had received phone calls about a man jumping in front of the LIR?
Oh, no.
Long Island Railroad. You know what it is. Brian, true or false, even though you already know?
True.
It is true. Patricia Ward, a professor at Farmingdale State College, was found decapitated in front of the Long Island Railroad, and her son, which at first no one was really sure if there was any correlation, because to have two deaths so close to each other, and so like two bizarre deaths close to close to each other, was pretty strange. It turns out they are mother and son. The son actually decapitated his mother.
Yeah.
And then took his own life by jumping in front of the train. The mother, Patricia Ward, was 66, and her son was named Derek Ward. Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy? I feel like with all the stuff going on with ISIS right now, the first thing out of their mind probably was an ISIS thing, until if he didn't jump in front of the train, which I know, like, I'm not saying like it's a good thing he did. I think they definitely would have tried to trace it back to ISIS.
Probably.
For one way or another. But isn't that like crazy?
Yeah.
And she was like a popular English professor at Farmingdale State College. And I guess her son was mentally ill. This is what reports are saying. Reports are just rolling in because this was really recent. It happened, I believe, like Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, I guess. But that's just, that's crazy. So it says that he has a problem, like a history of psychological problems. And I guess he dragged her body and head out. Like, okay, so I'm guessing what he did was he did it in the apartment, then he dragged her outside.
Okay.
So everyone just thought, oh, okay, this is a prank. Like, this isn't real. And then I guess he just couldn't take it, and then he jumped in front of the train. So that was, like, it's a really creepy story. I don't think there's any reason as of yet as to why he did. But he has, like, a history of drug problems, psychological issues, as I said. So I guess we'll hear more of the story within the week for right now. And I know I was hearing on the radio, it was on, I can't remember which station, but they said that a man was in a taxi and he actually saw the body.
Oh, really?
The taxi driver didn't think anything of it. He just thought, you know, taxi drivers, I don't know, I guess he just didn't think anything of it. I don't know why he didn't. But the man in the car, he said he saw, like, the body and the head, and he just thought it was, like, a part of a Halloween decoration. So it's not too far-fetched. I guess if it was December, it would be a little more alarming. But since it's the week of Halloween and everyone's doing crazy things, he probably just thought, oh, you know what, it's a dummy. So to realize that it's an actual person in the street laying down is pretty, like, creepy.
Yeah.
All right, so next, in honor of Halloween, R.L. Stine, for those of you who don't know who he is the writer of the famous Goosebumps, took to Twitter yesterday to live write What's in My Sandwich story of a loser who finds hope in something hairy in his egg salad sandwich. True or false?
Ooh, I'm gonna go with false.
It is actually true. He actually did write a whole story. Let me see if I could actually go to Twitter and see if I could find the story for you guys and read it.
So wait, what is the story based on again?
A boy who finds hair and other things in his egg salad sandwich, which in true R.L. Stein fashion, I think it's Stein.
R.L. Stein.
Stein, right?
I think so.
He, sorry, hold on. I had like a burp and I can't burp on air. He usually like writes stories that are like not childish. I wouldn't want to say childish, but they're like small, like regular instances that he makes big. Like you remember all his like Goosebumps books and his shows. The scariest one for me was the how do you pronounce it? It's not Tranquility.
Oh
my goodness, Ventriloquist, right? Yeah, with that dummy. Oh my god, that episode freaked me out.
What was my like scariest? Because I remember there was one that just freaked me out forever. I think it was either like a slime monster on an airplane or a haunted board game.
Either way, he is the man.
Jesus had me.
I love this whole thing now with social media that like authors and artists, whatever, they could easily post their things. Because I know Childish Gambino, for those of you who don't know, his actual name is Donald Glover. He's like really talented dude. He's been on 30 Rock, not 30 Rock. He's written for 30 Rock. He's in Community. He's a rapper, singer, what have you, right? He's also a poet, I guess. Yeah. He took to Twitter himself and he wrote us like a whole poem about him wanting to be a white man.
Really?
Yeah, so I think this is like a new trend going on in Twitter to like, because I think Twitter, I don't have a Twitter, so how many characters does it give you?
I think like 120.
All right, so it gives you 120 characters, and he wrote an entire poem on his Twitter. So this is exactly what R.L. Stein did. So I'm going to read you the story because I'm just going to read it exactly the way he has it. And it's not a very long story. So he goes, I'm going to write a story live on Twitter now. The story's called What's in My Sandwich. People call me a loser, but that's going to change. I was in a little diner downtown and I ordered an egg salad sandwich. I was going to bite down on it when I noticed something moving in the egg salad. Was I imagining it? No. I saw a hairy three-fingered claw push a clump of egg out of the way. I saw two round black eyes, a fur-covered face. The creature poked out of the sandwich, sending egg salad tumbling onto the plate. It was the size of a fat beetle, but it wasn't an insect. It had a furry head and eyes that peered into mine. Before I could react, a second creature poked out. And then a third. My sandwich was infested. My stomach lurched. Is everything okay? The waitress asked. Yes, fine, I said. Could you wrap this sandwich to go? Finding hairy things in your sandwich is gross. But I knew this sandwich would make me a winner. The sandwich would turn my life around. Discovering a new life form had to make me rich. I carried the sandwich home carefully and set it on a table. I didn't hear my son Willie come home when I finally saw him. He had egg salad on his face. Yes, he ate the sandwich. If only I could have stopped him. Now the creatures are biting holes in his stomach. They are biting holes in Willie from the inside, poking their furry heads out of his stomach, chewing his flesh. Yeah. Okay, a minor setback, but I'm not giving up. Willie is screaming in agony. The poor guy is terrified. I'm so excited. Where's my camera? Willie is going to make me rich. In case the kids haven't seen it. Oh, I guess that's it. The next one is just like him talking about his new movie, Most Schooly 2. That was a creepy, weird.
Yeah,
that was actually an extremely weird story. I really expected it to turn out differently for him to say that Willie's gonna make him rich. His poor son.
His son's gonna die.
Have you ever seen Creepshow from the 80s?
No.
Brian, why? It's so cheesy, especially if you watch it now. I think it's a Stephen King thing because he's in it. He plays one of them, and there's a scene where this man, he's a complete I suppose germaphobe. Like he has OCD. He needs everything to be clean. His whole house is white, apartment's white, whatever, and he sees one roach. And he gets Raid. I'm gonna say it's Raid, and he sprays the roach to death, and the roach dies. Oh. I have no problem with that. I hate bugs, so any bug that happens to die, I'm not a Buddhist. I don't care. I want it to die. Like I don't like bugs. So kills the bug, right? So that he's going about his day and whatever, and somehow or another, the next day he pours out cereal. There's a roach, right? He goes and he makes like a smoothie or what have you. There's roaches in it. Ooh. So it turns out that he didn't realize that in one of the things he ate, there was a roach. So a roach was inside his body, I guess laid eggs somehow, and then all of a sudden he feels a rumbling in his stomach, right? So he's just like, he's rumbling, and he's just like, oh my God, I feel horrible, right? All of a sudden, it just one comes out of his mouth, another one comes out of his ear. They just come out of all these places until finally it just bursts him, and there's roaches everywhere, and it's probably the scariest movie I've ever seen. Well, at least the scariest segment. But Creepshow is actually a really, really good movie if you're like into weird 80 horror films.
I might just have to give that a try.
You definitely do. So that story was actually true. So thank you, R.L. Stein, for putting Halloween Spirited to everyone and making Willie money bank. So next. I think I'm gonna handle that story later. Alright, so 10 North Korean officials were executed for watching soap operas after Kim Jong-un finally made his appearance after playing with Dennis Rodman. I'm joking about the Dennis Rodman part.
I think it's true. I did actually see this.
It's actually false.
Oh, what? Oh. Now I look like an idiot.
Yay! I tricked Brian. I was like, maybe if I add that Kim Jong-un came back, you'll be like, huh. No, it is false. I have no information on it because it's not a true story. It's a completely fake story. And then finally, 7 years after wearing a corset, this woman finally has a 16-inch waist. True or false?
I'm gonna go with... It's a tough one.
She's wore it for 7 years.
I'm gonna go with true then.
Her waist is, yeah, that is actually true. She now has a 16-inch waist, which is ridiculous. I don't know how big my waist is. It's nowhere near 16 inches if you've ever seen me. But this woman, her name is Kelly Lee Decay. That's her real name. She's a designer and international fetish model, which explains why I guess she wants to have a small waist. Maybe that's her like expertise. She's been constantly wearing a corset to reshape her body, and now she has such a small waist. I want Brian to see this because she's a very voluptuous woman already. So she basically looks like a Coke bottle, like an actual Coke bottle.
Jeez, that
you see it? Isn't it crazy? She has like these huge like upper body parts, huge lower body part, and then like this tiniest like her. I don't know. She looks like a Coke bottle. I have nothing else to like say with her.
It's just.
And she's a real person.
Healthy.
She's 27 years old, and she told Cosmo that she didn't consult with a doctor before actually wearing the corset, because the corset could actually cause problems considering your rib cage is there. You can't breathe when you're wearing it, and you have to really make it tight in order for it to have any kind of effects. So for you ladies that are wearing those waist trainers and you think it's cute, remember the precautions. So now she has to constantly visit a doctor to make sure that her organs and everything else inside is perfectly okay.
Ooh.
Isn't that nuts, though?
Yeah.
And she's like a huge model, too. And she's a self-proclaimed LGBTQ activist, and she's a latex fetishist. So I guess that explains why she wanted to look the way she does. So with that being said, that's the end of our true and false segment. When we come back, we'll give you a little more entertainment news, and yeah, tune back in.
All right.
Celebrate the USFL's 25th anniversary with this fantastic collector's magazine for the holidays. The USFL